All right, let's dive into one of the biggest questions we can possibly ask. What is reality, really? Today, we're going to explore a pretty wild idea, one that tries to explain how our own consciousness, our inner world, fits into the huge scientific picture of the universe.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a thought experiment. Which do you think is more real? A neuron firing inside your brain or the actual feeling of joy that it creates? I mean, think about it. You've got the physical event, right? The neuron firing. Science can see it, measure it, map all the connections. It's objective stuff. But then you have the feeling of joy. That's totally subjective, private, and personal to you. So which one is the real deal? The scientific fact or the experience itself? That question right there is the heart of the puzzle we're going to unpack today.
So to start answering that, we need to talk about a concept that, honestly, you're already an expert in. You just might not know the name for it. It's called the inside view.
So what is the inside view? Well, it's pretty much just the fancy term for your consciousness. It's the world as you experience it. You know, the actual taste of your morning coffee, that feeling of the sun on your skin, or a wave of nostalgia. It's reality, but from the inside looking out. Your totally unique first-person point of view.
And look, this isn't just some minor detail. It gets back to a really core idea from the philosopher René Descartes. His whole thing was that you could doubt almost everything around you, but the one thing you can't doubt is that you are experiencing something. That inner reality, it's undeniable. It's real.
And this idea is taken super seriously. The inside view isn't thought of as just some byproduct of brain chemistry. No, it's considered a fundamental part of what reality is. Philosophers even have a specific word for these qualities. They call it qualia. It's basically the what-its-likeness of something. So the redness of the color red, for example, it's not just a wavelength of light hitting your eye, it's the actual, real feeling of seeing red. You can't break that feeling down into anything simpler.
Okay, so if that's the inside view, what's the flip side? Well, as you can probably guess, it's what we call the outside view.
And this is where we get to the core problem, right? You can see it here, side by side. You've got the mental, subjective world of your inner experience, and then you have the physical, objective world that just follows the laws of physics, the world of science. Let's go back to that feeling of joy. The inside view is the feeling, boom. But the outside view, that's the bunch of chemicals and electrical signals a brain scanner could pick up. They seem like two completely different things describing the same event.
So, how do we fix this? I mean, how can our rich, colorful inner world and the cold, mathematical, physical world both be true? How can they be describing the exact same thing?
Well, the proposed solution is actually really elegant. The idea is that it's not that there are two separate realities, a mental one over here and a physical one over there. Nope, there's just one reality. We just have two different ways of looking at it, two different perspectives.
This whole idea has a name. It's called Dual Aspect Monism. And here's the absolute key. It says the most fundamental thing in the universe isn't matter and it isn't mind. It's information. And this information has two sides, two aspects. So when you look at an informational pattern from the outside, it looks like a physical process, neurons firing away. But when you experience that exact same pattern from the inside, it is the feeling. It is consciousness. So the difference isn't the thing itself. It's just the perspective you're seeing it from.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds kind of new agey, right? But what's fascinating is that this idea has super deep roots. We're talking from classic philosophy all the way to the absolute cutting edge of science today.
Yeah, if you go way back to the 17th century, a philosopher named Spinoza was talking about something almost identical. He said that what we call thought, the mind, and extension, the physical world, they aren't two different things. They're just two fundamental ways of looking at the same single underlying substance of reality.
Okay, so let's fast forward to right now. Scientists are actually working on something called Integrated Information Theory, or IIT for short. And what it is this really complex mathematical framework that's trying to formalize this exact idea. It's trying to spell out the relationship between information, physical stuff, and our consciousness. It basically takes Spinoza's brilliant philosophical idea and gives it a real, testable scientific backbone. And this is where it gets really, really mind-bending. According to IIT, a conscious experience, let's say seeing the color blue, it isn't just caused by some pattern of information in your brain. No, the theory says it is that pattern, seen from the inside. The feeling of blueness is the literal geometric shape of that information. Let that sink in for a second.
So what's the big takeaway here? Why does any of this matter?
Well, it's because this unified view might finally give us a way to bring our two most fundamental truths together, the truth of science and the truth of our own direct experience.
I mean, look at what a framework like this actually achieves. First off, it says your inner world, your subjective experience, is absolutely real. It's not just some illusion. Second, it does this without breaking any laws of physics, no spooky magic required. It also gives us a potential scientific reason for why things feel the way they do. You know, the whole qualia thing. And maybe most important of all, it brings the mental and the physical together under one roof, creating a single, cohesive picture of reality.
And that, of course, leaves us with a pretty wild final thought to chew on. If a complex pattern of information in a human brain has an inside view that we call consciousness, what does that mean for other complex systems? I'm talking about anything from a supercomputer to an entire ecosystem or maybe even the universe itself. What else out there might have an inside view?